let's talk about some misconceptions. If I was going to get really broad, the world is full of misconceptions, but in regards to mental health, there's too many of them. Here are my not so favourite 10 misconceptions about mental health. So let's get to it. Number 1. A mental illness has to be a result of a trauma or a challenging, abusive childhood. This is completely not true. I'm fortunate enough to say that I haven't actually experienced any form of awful trauma in my life, which means my childhood has been amazing, and I'm really lucky and grateful and blessed to be able to say that. Number 2, it's a state of mind and a character flaw. The worst thing you can ever say to someone struggling with their mental health is to snap out of it and to keep their chin up. And those two phrases are the two things that make me most angry in the world, other than queuing up for festival toilets. However, I do completely agree that people can get stuck in a rut sometimes and to stay in this really difficult, low, depressing place. But if it was such a state of mind and a personality defect, do you not think it would be super easy to get out of? Just saying. Number 3, mental health only affects your mind. I have lost a lot of my hair. I've had chunks where I've been a little bit bald. Stomach pains. My ribs and my back get really sore. A decrease in appetite. My breathing is really tight and uneven. My skin gets really bad. Chronic fatigue. I always feel like I never got enough sleep, but sometimes I've slept throughout the whole day. From my personal experience, struggling with my mental health has had a huge knock-on effect with my physical health. Number 4, mentally ill people are unpredictable, untrustworthy, and erratic. These 3 personality traits are not a result of mental illness at all. They are character flaws. Number 5. Taking medication is a weak solution. This is so wrong. If you broke your leg in an awful accident and decided not to go to A&E and carry on walking on it, does that make you any stronger than someone who gets a cast, has 6 weeks in plaster, and then has a period of physical recovery? I don't think so, sunshine. Is it going to help either? No. However, 1 in 4 of us will suffer with a mental illness at some point in our lives. And sometimes that needs medication, other times that needs therapy. Most of the time, it requires both. Number 6, it is used for an excuse for poor behaviour and underperformance. This is something that I've experienced a lot throughout my education. There has been a lot of times, unfortunately, where teachers have mentioned that perhaps it might be an excuse for underperformance. Despite a lot more conversations being had, there is still a stigma around mental health, and we are still trying to get over that. While it's still a plausible reason to struggle, people would not use mental health as an excuse if we still can't freely talk about it. 7. Those that suffer with their mental health cannot hold down a job and/or relationship. I, for one, still have my job. I love my job. It's awesome. I have to admit that it does make things like work and relationships, be them friendships or romantic, a lot more difficult. From a personal point of view, I have lost a lot of friends, but I've also sustained some amazing friends who have been with me throughout the whole journey, and I know will continue to do so. While I sometimes still find it really difficult to be honest and tell people what's going on, I know that there's an awesome support system around me that I am so blessed to have, and literally talking about it makes me smile. Number 8. It's edgy. Why is it so fashionable to be mentally ill nowadays? If you take a little trip onto social media, I wouldn't advise it for too long because it ruins people's lives. You will see a lot of people trying to destroy the stigma around mental health, which is amazing. But you can also see a lot of people advertising it. Not only encouraging things like hashtag thinspiration, which encourages anorexia, but also supports things like self-harm and playing around with your medication, and that's not cool. If you want to be edgy, buy a Polaroid camera and take a picture at Coachella. Number 9. Psychiatric wards are scary, clinical and prison-like. I can only speak from my experience, but I can guarantee you it's not like the horror films. And you're not confined to your bed or your room. In fact, you're encouraged to do things like draw and colour and talk. I actually learned to play Scrabble, and now I can't stop. Unfortunately, they are, I would say, underfunded and unkept. But that will only get better because we're talking about it. And last, but certainly not least, number 10. Bad mental health and ill mental health are one and the same. This is a misconception that I've saved for last because it is so important, and if there's anything that you take from this video, it is this. Everybody has mental health, although not everybody has a mental illness. Just like not everybody has diabetes, or not everybody suffers with thyroid problems. I don't think I even know anyone who suffers with their thyroid. We're really near the end. A little bonus misconception. I'm sure you've often heard the phrase, the weather is so bipolar today. My pet hate. I suffer from manic depression, also known as bipolar, which has 2 types, type 1, type 2. Who would have guessed that one? A lot of people are under the impression that people with bipolar suffer from mood swings that change throughout the day or even within an hour. That is not the case. Whilst everybody is different, mainly the mood swings are months and years apart and often are without any triggered reasoning, which is really, really great. This video marks the first of a series where I'm going to talk about all of the common misconceptions about mental health, religion, and everything in between. So here's to setting fire, in the nicest way possible, to these 10 misconceptions about mental health. Cheers!